Yes, the next topic is the Human Rights Watch calls for an end to abusive sex testing. Um, this one isn't strictly relating to trans people, but it does link up with it. I've linked an article on the Human Rights Watch. There's actually a 120-page report you can go read if you are interested. I probably will be reading it at some point. I've read through parts and checked various things. One thing the report was clear on was the way that sex testing, which for those who don't know, is the process in which female athletes competing at various different levels are tested for their sex, how it's an abusive practice which violates medical privacy. It also is inherently racist as a system. It targets the global south. People from South America, people from Africa, etc. These are the people that are most often targeted by these charges that, they're a man, they're trans, they're intersex. And it really has negative impacts on them. It can exclude many of these people from sports, etc. And there's just really no justification for it. It pathologizes the female body for absolutely no fucking reason. And it's just all baseless speculation.
It's this idea, they have this assumption that they're starting with, that women can't be good at sport. If they're good at sport, that must mean that they are male in some way. Mm-hmm. They are partially or entirely male because only men can be good at sport. It's just this incredibly misogynistic drivel.
Yes, and
it's imposing a cap on how good you can be at sport if you're a woman. It's just so disgusting.
And the way that it's intersex people such as Caster Semenya have been targeted in the past, who, as a black lesbian, there's so much racial and homophobic profiling around her. This all got linked up to the discussion about trans people in sports and gatekeeping them. The very first point that I actually led with in my first response to rationality rules was by bringing up the facts that, hey, competing as your gender in sports is a human right on these grounds. Unless you have justification to remove those rights, you're out of luck. So it's interesting to see pretty much everything I said just absolutely validated by the articles discussing the support, etc. So I imagine reading through it, it's going to be quite a painful reminder of a lot of the bullshit I dealt with in 2019 and just how unwilling the apparently rational secular community was in engaging with the evidence, So again, that's also just
one thing. So one thing in that article I read, which really made me just realize how bad everything is. There's no correlation between testosterone level and how good you are at sport. There's not been any correlation found among men, but they're assuming there's a correlation among women, which goes back. It's exactly like I said. It's this idea that they must be male in some way. Testosterone, generally speaking, quote unquote, makes you male. So obviously, women with high testosterone who are good at sport, it must be because they're secretly male, and we have to take them out of women's sport to protect poor, weak women who can't possibly compete with this person we're saying is male. It's.
But don't you know, women don't have muscle or bone mass.
Oh no,
we
don't
just cut it in half. You have to cut it in whole.
Cut it in whole. Testosterone made me grow muscle out of nothing.
Every woman is just
surprisingly
a ethereal gas creature, But yeah, so it was just something that I thought I'd mention, I'd bring up. If you want to read more, again, there's a link for you to go read up.
The other thing I want to highlight actually about it that I read that I thought was important is that this targeting of these women isn't just an unpleasant thing.
It's a
means they have to go into
Yeah.
Oh, it's traumatic as well, but also it's not like, oh, they have to change professions. It's, oh, they can't eat anymore because they were relying on sport to live.
Mm-hmm.
Because targets the global south. A lot of these people are in abject poverty. Sport was lifting them out of poverty, and now they're being gatekept for no reason. They can't eat. Their families can't eat anymore. It's literally killing them. Just thought that was worth mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, very sad stream today.
Yeah, it's not going to get much more positive.